Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So Rose, Mandy, hello. Thank you for being with us. Okay, here's some questions that have come over in the last couple of days, rattling them off in no particular order. Although I think for this first one, Rose, will probably go to you. How do you see technology affecting our spiritual practices?
Well, because I see our spiritual practices is very much linked to the quality of our empathy and our engagement with others. I don't see it separated. So technology, insofar as it brings people together and builds relationships that are positive and life-giving, then I see that as a good thing. So our spirituality needs our empathy, and technology certainly needs our spirituality. And somehow our empathy is also linked to ethics, not just somehow, it is. And it's very hard to, when math is making decisions, it's very difficult to bring ethics and empathy into that. But that's what we need to do if we're going to live a spiritual life in this world.
Very good. Mandy, I think this one should go to you. What ways can colleges such as yours create better access to underserved populations? I think that's in regard to some of the things you spoke about with addressing the bias issues in programming.
Yeah, so I think our universities can make sure to accept a diverse pool of students and then probably partner with the local community. So if there's some way for faculty, either through their classes or their research, to have students engaged in the community, either volunteering or even just doing like user studies, user interviews, talking to people from different backgrounds to figure out how they would use the technology and what issues they would see with it. I think that's one way.
Very good. Manny, I think this one's for you as well, unless Rose, you've been taking a learning annex on computer programming we don't know about. What do you consider the biggest challenge presently facing computer programmers?
That's a difficult question.
Wow. That's a heavy hitter.
I feel like my answer might be a little biased. I go to natural language processing and AI. So I think about how difficult it is to get models, artificial intelligence, to really understand context and have common sense and know how the world works. So like we can have these models learning just from the data it sees, but there's no true intelligence. So I think that's a big challenge. That's like an open question, but achieving that could also have complications. Yeah, so I guess that's the one that comes to mind for me.
Here's one. Rose, I'll pitch this one to you. Although, Mandy, you might have some thoughts on this as well. Online sacraments, such as confession, have become quite common. How do I know I'm actually confessing to a priest and not a bot or Mark Zuckerberg? Although I think we're all confessing to Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, yes, whatever we reveal on social media is going right to Mark or to the Twitter guy. But I have not done confession online, and spiritual direction, yes. But confession, no. I'm not sure. Has anybody actually blessed that approach? I'm not sure. I haven't heard that it has been an approved way to receive the sacraments. So we've all been participating in Mass, and we know that because we are all people of God, that works together. But of course, we miss receiving the Eucharist in person when we're doing distance praying like that. I would say there's a sacramentality to this and a spirituality to participating in Mass and the sacraments virtually, but I'm not sure that I am sure it's not the sacraments the way we've always understood them. That's for sure.
Man, any insights or advice you can give us if we're talking to a real person or to a bot or to the algorithm? I mean, the movie gave me the impression it's pretty hard to tell.
Yeah, that's like the Turing test for confession.
I'm not going to do it.
That's hard.
I guess maybe the question is, are we being, maybe the question doesn't matter who we're confessing to, or are we being absolved?
Yeah, that's true too.
The algorithm, I feel like there's a Futurama episode in here. I feel like the Simpsons already did this or something. Rose, this one might be for you as well. This stuff is here to stay. How do we best incorporate it into our faith lives, which are generally interpersonal? I'm assuming the person writing the question is referring to live in-person.
Sure. I think like everything else that we have accommodated into our lives, 30 years ago, people used to call me the great accommodator because I would bring television and film into my catechetical formation work. But just accommodating it doesn't mean that you're not critically engaged. And I think that's the important key there, is that you don't just put it on go and just run with it. There has to be a moment where you step back and you discern what you're involved in, what you're doing, and what your relationships are like online. I have a lot of good friends online. I've actually met some of them, afterwards. I'll just tell this little story. I was in the airport in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I checked in at the gate and I sat down to wait till they called us. It was in the evening. And I saw this man with white hair coming toward me in a Mexican serape. And he looked kind of, familiar. And he walked up to me and he goes, "Are you Rose?" And I looked at him and I said, "Are you Bruce?" And it was Bruce that I had become friends with on Facebook. And we actually ran into each other at the airport. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I suppose that could have a downside too. But if we're careful and judicious, I just can't take away that idea of being in living discernment all the time. And that takes intentionality. And it's tiring, but if we want to live in this world, you're right, it's not going away. Love it or hate it, it's not going away.
Mandy, any thoughts yourself on how we, as a program, perhaps, how we find a way to have the best of both, virtual and real?
Yeah, I've been experiencing the same phenomenon that Sister Rose mentioned all the time with my students. I met them for the first time virtually last year, and now they walk into my office and it's like, "Oh, is that you? Well, is that you, Jonathan?" So I think it helps to have the virtual option for a lot of things. For me, like conferences, it makes it easier to still attend things while not having to travel and being able to teach at the same time. And virtual office hours has been nice to have a mix of in-person and virtual, depending on whether the student wants to walk all the way to my office, if they like to see me in person, or if it's easier just to share, like for computer science, their screen with their code can be kind of nice with the virtual option. But yeah, I think we definitely need the in-person component in many ways, especially for teaching. Students just need to be with other students. And I think all of us get a little distracted when we're staring at a screen. We can start looking at our other devices and stop paying attention. Yeah.
Very good. Let's move on to, Mandy, I think this one's going to be for you. Can you recommend resources or books on algorithm and AI for the layperson? I'd like to become more informed on this subject. Mm-hmm. Before you answer, I just want to say, whoever wrote this, thank you for that refreshing comment. I'd like to be more informed on this subject. I wish more people online would be more informed on subjects. So,
and they want to read a book about it.
There we go. Someone who wants to be informed on a matter before they make an opinion. What the unicorns are out there.
I'm worried. So what I think of are the textbooks that may not be for the layperson. It's like for my students. So I may need to look up some other options offline and get back on that one. I think of the machine learning textbook that's really technical, and then the AI textbook is probably also not a great resource for everyone.
Well, if you don't mind, even too, if you want to put a few together, we can always post them below.
Oh, okay.
At a later date.
Yeah.
So feel free to email me and I'll get them up there. Oh, these two might be kind of fun. So I think we have a little bit more time here to get at least one of these, maybe two. So this will be for both of you. Actually, you know what? Let me swap this. Mandy, let's go with you first on this particular question before I get to the twofer. What movie has been the most accurate in the depiction of computer algorithms or AI, in your opinion? None of them can also be an option.
I think, I don't know. I really enjoyed The Imitation Game. I don't know if that makes it the most accurate one, but that one, for some reason, popped into my mind as one that I really liked.
Well, that might be the answer to the next question here for both of you. What's your favorite movie on this subject?
Yeah, I think The Imitation Game really worked for me. But as far as the concepts of surveillance and these themes that arose from it, I really think we need to look at Minority Report. And the reason for that is that, in that already punishing people for what they haven't done. And if you watch Coded Bias, it seems that that's where it's going with all this risk assessment. And so I think that there are themes that are interesting in Minority Report that are reflected back on AI and algorithms and mathematics and the better use of math.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that, so I'll have to watch that later.
Oh my gosh, you were probably really young when it came out. Have you seen The Matrix?
Yes.
Good. Thank goodness. At least you've seen that one.
No takers on the Terminator? No, that one's not going to count. Okay.
Terminator 2, yes.
Terminator 2 seems like a natural, algorithm. Terminator. Yeah, it seems like the natural, the natural progression of this stuff. That's all the time we have for on questions today. So again, Rose, Mandy, thank you so much for your time, and to all those that participated with us online, thank you for your questions. We look forward to seeing you all again on December 1st for our next film. We're moving from science to science fiction, although with the way things are sounding today in science, it might not be so much science fiction much longer as we discuss Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. So again, Mandy, Rose, thank you both very much. And to those joining us online today, we look forward to seeing you in December. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, Michael and Mandy.